Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I just got finished watching 2005's Doom on 4K Blu-ray. If you guys are into 4K reviews, Blu-ray reviews, movie reviews, TV show reviews, tech reviews, and some video game reviews along the way, consider subscribing because we do all that here. So, jumping right in, I actually never seen Doom. I don't know why this slipped through the cracks for me. So real quick, this checks all the boxes for me actually. Like, I love the corny sci-fi. Sci-fi is pretty much my favorite genre. I absolutely love sci-fi. I eat it up. And I've never seen this before, but I saw it was coming to 4K. So that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I was like, you know what? If they're putting the time in to put this on 4K, then maybe there's something there, so I'll check it out. So I picked it up, and I'll tell you, boy, I had a great time with this movie. I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed this. I was sitting there with my snack, I was eating popcorn, and I was just having a great time watching what was going on the screen. Is it a strong plot? Absolutely not. But you know, that's just how the games work. If you're a fan of the game Doom, then you'll feel right at home here. Like the way they designed the whole set and everything looked kind of like it would be in the Doom video games. Everything's very fast-paced like it is in the Doom video games. And there's not really a story. You're just grabbing key cards and unlocking doors and running back to find the next key card to unlock some doors. And that's basically it. You know, there's no human life really around. That were very scarce, and at least on the originals there wasn't too much human life around. It was all alien. In the newer games in 2016, Doom and Doom Eternal, then there was a little bit more of a story there. But, you know, I'm not going to bore you with all that. But just what they did with all the sets, like how they had the different colors around the doors, like you had to get the certain color key cards to unlock certain doors. It was pretty cool how they paid attention to that, and I just really enjoyed that. So, is it a great movie? Am I going to sit here and say this is one of the best movies of all time? Absolutely not. But it's a corny sci-fi movie that really held my interest, to be honest. You know, it checked all the boxes for me. It had cool futuristic tech, it had cool guns, you know, it had the soldiers going in there and just annihilating everything, and it had the aliens, and I eat this shit up. I absolutely love it. And The Rock was in it. I actually really enjoy seeing The Rock as a actor on the big screen. Also, side note, Richard Brake was in this movie as just one of the soldiers that ends up dying. But I mean, most notably, because he's kind of got like this like sicko way of acting. Maybe it's just the movies I've seen him in. I've seen him in the Rob Zombie movies. He was in Halloween 2. He actually died very early on in that. But most notably, he was Doomhead in 31, and that movie's sick. You should check out 31 if you're a Rob Zombie fan or just into slasher, gory stuff like that. But anyway, jumping into the 4K presentation we have here. So inside we have the original Blu-ray disc, and then we have the 4K disc. So we get both Blu-rays, both discs here, the Blu-ray and the 4K, which is pretty cool. You know, I'm probably never used the Blu-ray, but hey, I have it. Really nice slipcover. I really like the art that they did on here. It's the same artwork, but they just changed the colors, so no big deal. So let's jump into visuals. It looked really good, you know. I mean, I can't compare it to the any previous Blu-rays because I didn't watch any of those. I mean, I have it here, but I didn't watch that one. I just watched the 4K on my new 4K player, and it looked really good. It does not have Dolby Vision. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I would have liked to see the Dolby Vision in there. There's, I would say, probably 50% to 50 to 75% of this movie is just very, very dark and like well or not so well lit areas. And I think the HDR really helped really flush out those, and you could see what was going on basically. But I think Dolby Vision would have took it to the next step. But again, the HDR did fine, and it looked great, you know? I mean, this movie's from 05, so the CGI is a little bit dated, but you gotta remember, back in 05, the technology is much different. We are many years past that. And I think it still holds up as far as the film goes and as far as the CGI goes. I wasn't like, oh, that looks terrible. You know, it's a corny sci-fi movie that really, you know, I had a great time with it, and I think the CGI held up pretty decently. And the picture, I thought, looked great on my OLED TV. As far as sound goes, I think it was okay. You know, it has a DTS-X track, so it sounded okay. There was some stuff coming through my rear speakers, and it had a decent mix to it. You know, it sounded okay. I would have loved to have an Atmos track, but, you know, I think just the way they filmed it, like there was certain scenes where specifically towards the end, there's an FPS scene, like first-person shooter scene, and it makes it look like the video game. Now, I'm sure a lot of people disliked it, but, you know, you have to do it, and it's Doom. You need to have an FPS scene. And I think when he was talking in there, it sounded like he was like kind of off behind the camera and stuff. So the sound wasn't perfect, but it wasn't terrible. So there's no Dolby Vision, there's no Dolby Atmos, there's just the DTS-X and HDR, so it's not terrible. But I can guarantee you that this definitely looks better than that Blu-ray because it looked fantastic on the screen, I'm not gonna lie. I think this was a very good scan by Universal, and I could recommend picking this up. If you're a fan of the movie, and you just love corny movies like this like I do, and you really like Doom, I could highly recommend picking this up because I had a great time with it. It looked great, sounded pretty good, and I had a great time with it. I like the slipcover, I like the packaging they went with. You know, it's nothing crazy. They just changed the colors up, but I'm a sucker for a slipcover. I really like that. And it comes with the Blu-ray in there, so you get both. The Blu-ray I think is still $10, and I believe this was $20, so you get 10 and 10. I think it's worth it. If you already have the Blu-ray, maybe wait for a sale. But again, if you're a huge fan of the movie, I can highly recommend picking this up because I think this is a great disc. I really enjoyed it. It looked great, and it sounded good. So again, this is my first time seeing it. I really enjoyed the film itself. I like these kind of corny sci-fi movies. That's my thing. This checked all the boxes for me. And then the visual and the audio presentation by Universal here and the packaging, you know, altogether I would give this an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I think it's worth the pickup if you're a fan of Doom, if you're a fan of sci-fi, if you're a fan of video games. Because this is, at the end of the day, it's a video game movie, and a pretty damn good one in my opinion. That's probably a hot take because I know a lot of people didn't like this movie. It was a flop in the box office, but hey, I enjoyed it, I liked it, I'm glad I have it, and I'll probably watch it again. But if you guys like this review, please consider giving this video a like, and maybe consider subscribing to the page because we do reviews like this all the time. But until next time, have a great one, guys.